Race fans, Big Trev coming at you again. We're going to analyze the STP 500. We had a short track. It was Martinsville, and it was a very interesting race, to say the least, for a short track. Wasn't too bad. There was some green flag racing, but we finally had a race with lots of yellow. We had Chase Elliott started on the pole. Stage 1 was pretty uneventful, and Truex won that stage. Kyle Busch was leading the final lap of Stage 2 when Ricky Stenhouse decided to move him out of the way so he could stay on the lead lap, and because of Ricky Stenhouse's move, it let Chase Elliott by Kyle Busch, and he was the winner. So this stage racing really is playing out to some final desperate measures by desperate drivers. So, and then later on, there was contact with Denny Hamlin and Danica Patrick, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it just seems like to me that Danica Patrick gets in contact or has problems with other drivers at Martinsville all the time. I'm not trying to down talk her, but she seems to always end up with problems and trouble at Martinsville with other drivers and whatever. So, Stage 2 winner, like we said, was Chase Elliott. And then the final stops came around 100 laps to go. I think it was 106 to go, somewhere around there. And we had a couple yellows after that. One was with 83 to go, and that's when Dale Earnhardt Jr., my man, he ended up out of the race due to radiator problems and quite the melee, but I believe that was the same wreck I was talking about with Patrick and that. But things happen. Short track racing, guys aren't always going to finish. Some other guys that had troubles was McMurray, and we had Matt DiBenedetto had a couple issues. He had an issue and he was out of the race. So there's a couple other guys with issues, and sometimes at Martinsville, drivers leave there very unhappy. I've seen it more times than not that some guy, they get contact and then all of a sudden they think it was intentional and really it wasn't, and it turns into a big fiasco. But that's what short track racing's about. So that was a big melee with 83 laps to go, and then with 69 laps to go, our Stage 1 winner, Martin Truex, spins and brought out the final caution with 69 laps to go. And from there we restarted, and Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski were trading the lead for a little bit there, and then with about 40 laps to go, Brad Keselowski putting the bumper to Kyle Busch for about 10 or 15 laps, finally got by him, and that was it. Keselowski went on to win. And here's something. Early on in the race, I believe it was at the end of Stage 1, Keselowski had a speeding penalty on pit road, and he comes back to win the thing. This is his second win of the season. He's the only driver to do it. And oh, by the way, he's driving a Ford, and it's Ford's first win at Martinsville since 2002 when Kurt Busch did it. So there's not a whole lot of guys that can master Martinsville, and a lot of champions have mastered Martinsville. Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip, those are just a couple to name a few. And Rusty Wallace too, he was a good racer at Martinsville in his career. So some of the greats have been really successful at Martinsville. Kyle Busch finished second, Chase Elliott finished third, Logano finished fourth, and Austin Dillon finished fifth. Now the points getting pretty tight here because Chase Elliott had issues. Something went away in his car the last few laps to go, and he lost a bunch of spots. So, or not Chase Elliott, I'm sorry, Kyle Larson. Larson, I believe it was, had problems, and Chase Elliott was able to gain some points on Kyle Larson. So right now, first and second's pretty tight. 4 points separate them. Martin Truex is third in the points with 32 back from the lead, and Keselowski 34 points back, and Joey Logano 61 points back. So we got a Chevy, Toyota, and Ford in the points. Brad Keselowski is the only driver to win 2 races this season so far. It is the 6th race of the season, and lots of racing to go yet. So, but I will say, I was what really surprised me was with that final caution that none of the leaders came in really, or because you just think that 105 laps to go is quite a bit on tires, but hey, Kyle Busch said he didn't like that last set of tires that they put on his car, so maybe he should have came in. What might have been? He could have worked his way back up through the field, and possibly you never know. So, but Keselowski and Kyle Busch were the class of the field for the last third of the race. So I will say it's going to be Toyota versus Ford, I believe, this year. But then again, I can't really say that because you got Kyle Larson in a Chevy and Chase Elliott in a Chevy. So really, I think manufacturer-wise, we're almost even across the board. So the season's becoming good with the stage racing. I really like the stage racing, and only thing I don't like at the end of the stage is that the caution laps count. I don't think that they should at the stage interval because, yeah, that's just not. If you're gonna have stages of racing, then make sure you have that intermission where no laps are counted. So that's just me, but it's a work in progress. Maybe NASCAR will make tweaks to it, but who knows? I know stage 1 and 2 were 130 laps, so final stage was 240 laps. So that's it was quite a long stage for the final stage, and that's pretty much it. So that's all I got for you. And our next race is Texas. A couple guys that we'll look forward to possibly being good there is Jimmy Johnson. He usually runs good there. Matt Kenseth has ran good there. The Team Penske's been good there. So that's something to watch for. The 1.5-mile tracks seem to be Team Penske's really go-to right now, and actually not just Team Penske, but I think a lot of these younger drivers just in general, the 1.5 miles, they're just, that's their cream of the crop, we'll say. So, but congratulations to Brad Keselowski on his second win of the season. And we'll move on to Texas from there. And with that, here's Crank It Up.